What's up, my dudes? Valk here, and today with the Dendro Dreams coming out, I want to talk about something that I've seen brought up a lot, that Electro is weak. And I kind of want to rebuttal that point and bring up my own argument. I think, honestly, Electro is fine, except for the Resonance. The Resonance is really bad, but Overload has its place. Certain shields can be absolutely decimated by Overload. Electro Charge can be good in Taser and Swirled. It can be really strong in those situations, especially with specific characters like Beidou, etc. And then Superconduct obviously is a must with any physical team, and I think that's really all the relevant ones, basically. So all of those kind of fit their own niche, and they're very unique. Some are meant for damage, like Overload does good damage. But for the most part, every single reaction is pretty unique as far as the elemental reactions go. But there's a reason the characters themselves just don't feel that good. And that's what I want to talk about today, is that I think Electro is fine. I just think 90% of the characters are bad. Actually 99, because the only good character in Electro is Raiden here. Plus Beidou. Beidou's really good. But Raiden is the only one that, to me, is just hands and shoulders above all the others. But I want to go over all the Electro characters today and talk about them and talk to you why Electro feels bad, basically. And I want to kind of answer the question, is Electro weak? In my opinion, no. I think the reactions are okay, but I don't think you should buff the reactions too much. I do think the Resonance needs to get reworked. The Resonance is really bad. But I want to talk about the characters mostly because they are the reason Electro does feel weak, even though in my opinion it's not necessarily weak, because once you get strong Electro characters, they feel really good. So first up is everyone's favorite cat girl, Keqing. I want to talk about why she feels weak, and it's very simple. She has very low multipliers outside of her charge attack. Her charge attack genuinely hits pretty hard. You can see I think that's 299 right there. On her charge attack as a total damage on 25 cost. It's a very fast charge attack. You can get it off pretty quickly, but outside of that, everything else has really low multipliers for what it is. It just does not hit hard. She can deal pretty good damage, but in the end, you're going to end up, if you build her Electro, you're going to end up feeling a little weird. I've used her for a very long time. She was the first 5-star DPS. I had the most success building her Fizz and running her Fizz. Most of you, or some of you, may have different results, but for me personally, I think Fizz is kind of the way to go, but in the end, it's all personal preference with her because her multipliers are just really low regardless. Next up is Beidou. Despite the fact that I have some shambles set up right now because I've been moving artifacts around, I've used Beidou a good bit. Beidou is one, I never say her name right. I know there's going to be so many comments correcting me. It's been a year and a half at this point. It's still Beidou to me, but she is really good. You can tell here by the multiplier, it actually goes way higher than this. It hits like a damn freight train. It gains so much damage off of a perfect parry, and it is really good. And Stormbreaker is cracked due to C2. C2 makes Stormbreaker insanely good because you get chain jumps, so it makes Beidou a really strong character, so that's why Beidou feels really good to play. And I just want to go over Kujo Sara super quick. It's not much. You guys know that she's basically discount Bennett. Her skill buffs by attack, and then she also has a really hard hitting ult. But she's genuinely so clunky to play, nobody actually wants to play her. She just feels really bad to play. That's really all it is to it. It doesn't feel very good to play her. Next up is Yae Miko. Now, I have a pretty invested Yae Miko. I genuinely do enjoy this character. I enjoy playing her, but I'm going to point out her flaws, and it's not Electro's fault. Once again, in my opinion, it's more the character design. I think her damage is actually good on her ult, but her damage on her skill does not warrant her uptime. Her uptime is very long to place the towers. That we could pop the towers to make the ult deal more damage, and then you have to replace the towers. She ends up having like a good 5-6 second loop all in all, not counting the actual time inside her animation for her ult. She spends way too much ult uptime or field time to just not do a whole lot. And that's really why she feels really bad, because she feels really slow to play. And her dashes have to be, or her skills, not her dashes, have to be dash canceled out of. Otherwise, you put yourself in risk of getting hit by some attacks. Even if you miss time to skill because it doesn't have iframes, you can still get hit by attacks. So she's got a combination of being clunky plus a lack of damage in her E. and it kind of makes it to where she just does not feel good to play for most people. Like I said, I enjoy her, but at the same time, I'm very aware of what's wrong with her. Next up is Fischl. Now, Fischl's actually pretty good. She's a really good off-the-field energy amplifier, or energy supplier, I should say, because of her C6. Her C6 makes it so she's actually a pretty good off-the-field unit, and a lot of people do use her like that. But that's basically all she does. She just pops Oz down, and then she leaves. She used to be a top-tier Fizz DPS, but as we've gotten a lot more units, she's kind of gone off that role, and now she's just a Electro applier and energy recharge bot, and that's literally all she does. But she excels at that role, and I think she's pretty good for that. I don't think that people really use her as main DPS anymore. You can see I even have Rust on her. I was thinking about it at one point, but yeah, I don't think anybody uses her like that anymore. I think most people use her like I described. And now, Razor, the Electro unit that has nothing to do with Electro. He's basically a purely Fizz DPS, and you just pair him with any cryo like Diona or whatever, and he deals physical damage. So, does it really count to say he's Electro? I mean, technically he is, but he uses the elements so much that, or so little I should say. He has so little reactions or interactions with Electro outside of Superconduct to get the physical resistance shred. He has so little reactions outside of that there's really no point even mentioning it. But because of the way he functions, I can see why people would think Electro is weak, because they literally do nothing to help one of their characters. And there's really not much to say about him either. And then Lisa. Lisa is absolutely one of the most intriguing characters because she is really good and really bad at the same time. So Lisa, one, her C6 is absolutely necessary. What it does is whenever she takes the field, she applies 3 stacks of her conductive status onto nearby enemies. That lets her do a full charged skill and hold it up for 609% damage at level 4. It goes to a crazy multiplier, one of the highest multipliers in the game. So she can genuinely hit extremely hard at C6. But because she is a standard banner only unit, she's one of the beginner 3. Not a lot of people have her C6. Not a lot of people have experienced like what she can do. And even then, she's still clunky as hell. So people have to deal with a very, very weak Lisa. There's another reason why Electro feels really weak. So, all in all, you can see with the Electro units, why yes, there are some good ones, about 3 good ones. There's also equally bad ones. And then the biggest factor for why Electro feels terrible, the first Electro units we got since the game came out, I believe, were both Kujo, Sara, and Raiden Shogun. It took that long to get new Electro units, and even then, the only one we've gotten since those two is Yae Miko. So Electro is really, really lacking behind in just the variety that other elements have. And it really hurts them because basically you're running Beidou or Raiden at this point. Some people still run Fischl instead of Raiden, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But basically most people are running Beidou and Raiden as like the main. To me, those are the 2 best Electro units, with Fischl in a close third, and then Yae Miko is around there with Keqing. I don't think Yae Miko is all that good, but I do think that she has a lot of potential. If MiHoYo just, decrease her field time, let her be off the field more, I think she would be fantastic. But as she stands, she's not really that good. And I think it's the characters lacking is what makes Electro feel so bad rather than the element itself. Because a lot of characters that are really good, that are Electro, that showcase what it can do inside of a taser comp, like an Electro Charge comp, or I can never remember the exact elemental reaction names. I'm really bad with them. But inside of a taser team, she can show what Electro does and the fact that it can bounce. And Electro has a lot of unique interactions with different things, making it so you can have some crazy, crazy stuff going on. Anyways, basically, that's just my opinion on the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If Electro was to get a buff, of course I'd take it. I mean, I love Raiden Shogun. She's literally probably my main at this point. I really, really enjoy Raiden Shogun, so if they're going to buff her, I'm going to take it. But I just wanted to kind of bring an opposite opinion to the point that I see a lot, that Electro as an element as a whole is weak, which I think it's not. I think it's mostly the characters. I think a lot of Electro characters are pretty weak. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.